Excuse me. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Jay Meszar. I'm a senior solutions consultant for IMAGINiT, and we're here to talk about the Leica BLK2GO PULSE and capturing indoor spaces. And what I'm going to do is today is take advantage of being able to speak with you today about the PULSE and really introduce it. So let's get started, and we'll talk a little bit about who I am. Again, my name's Jay Meszar. I've been working with IMAGINiT. Actually, I've updated this a little bit. I've been working with IMAGINiT about 16 years now. So I've been in the AEC space for over 27 years. Civil 3D certified professional, and been working with the reality capture team here at IMAGINiT for over 7 years now. So if there are questions related to anything I have to show you today, hopefully I can get you those answers as quickly as efficiently as possible. So let's talk about the agenda for today. I'm going to go through the BLK2GO PULSE and explain what it is, first of all, and talk to you a little bit about some of the features around the PULSE, and talk to you about the differences that are between this and the BLK2GO. So I'll try to bring up my webcam here when that time comes, and we'll talk about some of the differences. We'll talk about what the advantages are of using the PULSE for some indoor 3D scans. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the PULSE and explain what it is, right? So I think one of the things that really got me about the PULSE is when you capture data, you really capture what you see. And that sounds a little bit silly because that's kind of almost with every scanner. And for today, I'm going to really compare this kind of to the BLK2GO specifically, because that's its closest, the closest comparison that we have. And so if any of you have worked with the BLK2GO before, you know that you simply hold that scanner out in front of you and you walk around, and it captures the data as you walk, right? Well, not much is different here. Same thing goes for the PULSE. As I walk, it's going to capture data. Well, the difference here is that it's capturing data wherever I'm pointing the scanner. So if I want to get more floor data, I simply tilt the scanner down and capture more floor data. If I want to capture more of the ceiling, I move it up and I'll look at more of the ceiling. And so in this manner, I kind of equate the BLK2GO PULSE as, to use an analogy, it's like a paint gun, right? Where if I take a paint sprayer and I spray towards the floor and I move it real quickly across the space, I'm going to get speckles of paint everywhere, but I'm not really going to get a lot of coverage. Well, kind of the same thing to go with the PULSE. If I take that and I swipe it across a room real fast, I'm going to get some points, but not really good coverage of that data. And so if I take it and move it in a nice, smooth manner and kind of follow the scanner with my eyes, whatever I'm looking at is what the scanner's capturing. However long I look at that data, I'm going to capture more data in that space. And so one of the real benefits to this is that we get to review a colorized point cloud in real time. And this is sped up quite a bit, by the way. I don't really walk this fast and walk through a space, but as I walk through the space, it collects data and it streams it directly to my mobile device. So what does that mean? Well, that means that I've got an iPhone, in my case, it's an iPhone, attached to the BLK2GO, and I'm looking at the screen as I walk around the space, and it's showing me the data that's being collected as I collect it. So if I'm looking at the screen and I don't see a ton of data in a particular spot, I look over to that spot, move the scanner over there, and I capture that data. Once again, using the paint gun analogy to cover that area a little bit more. Right? And then I can, once I finish a scan, I can quickly access that data and look at it right on my phone to see, did I get enough coverage? Is that going to be enough for whatever I want to do with this scan data? And so let's talk a little bit about that scan data and what you do with it. Right? Because that's one of the big things when it comes to scanners that people really have a hard time with, is which scanner to use in the right situation. And you know, if you pick up an RTC 360 and then you take a look at the BLK2GO PULSE, we're using those two types of scanners for very different reasons. Right? When I'm looking at an RTC 360, I'm looking at getting just an amazing amount of detail in a space. I'm looking at possibly modeling some pipes, maybe creating a Revit model from the walls and the doors and the ductwork. Whereas the BLK2GO PULSE has its own niche, and that is to be able to take this through a space very quickly. And I would also say take it through not only a space, a large space very quickly. In some cases, I could walk through an office building and be able to collect almost a whole floor's worth of data, and depending on the size of the building, of course, whole floor's worth of data in probably just a couple of walks, which would mean I could collect that whole floor in, let's say, less than an hour. Whereas if I use something like an RTC 360, that's going to be expanded exponentially, because that's a terrestrial-based scanner on a tripod, and I take a scan about 2 minutes, pick it up, and I move it. And so when you think about that, you want to think about, okay, how far can you walk at even a slow pace in 2 minutes? Pretty far, I would say. So being able to walk that distance in such a short time is a huge advantage with a scanner like the BLK2GO PULSE. And then on the other side of that, think about, well, what if I don't care too much about the ceiling data and I want to get more of the floor plan and floor data? Well, if I point my scanner down more towards the floor, I'm going to capture less data towards the ceiling. And I could get a floor plan very easily. So these are kind of things that you can think about when you're talking about the BLK2GO PULSE. And so let's talk about some of the features. All right. First up, easy push button scan to start and stop the scanner. You can very easily take the scanner and push that button right there and simply start the scan to scan. Now, what I probably should have done here on this graphic was take a look at the phone that's hanging on the top of the scanner. You'll notice that there's a red button in the center of that phone, or at the bottom of the center of the phone. I could also start my scan by simply pressing that button in the Field 360 app. And away I go, and I'm scanning and then I could press that button to stop it. Either way, it's a simple start and stop. All right. So the Pulse works with Cyclone Field 360 and the BLK2GO Live app, right? So either one you want to use is perfectly fine. My preference, I like the Field 360 app. I like the way I can register in Field 360 and have all of my data connected together before I ever leave the site. And the Field 360 app, again, not to put down the BLK2GO Live app, it's different. But that Field 360 app is so nice because I use multiple scanners here at Imagine. I use the RTC, I use the BLK360, I use the BLK2GO. All of them can work within that Field 360 app. So it's one interface for me to run everything. Okay. Fast data collection using mobile phone. I don't care. You're an Apple person, you're a Google or Android person. We can collect data with either device. Okay, we're not here to talk about which one's better, Google and Android or iOS. That's entirely up to you. Okay, all right, and then again, I'm back to the Field 360 app, and that Field 360 app allows me to add supplemental data, where I can add what we refer to as geotags, where pictures and video and documents, voice narration, simple text, right? And so all of that can be added in my Field 360 application. So why is that a big deal? Well, remember, we're not collecting the level of detail that we would get with an RTC 360, for example, right? And so since we're not getting that level of detail with the BLK2GO Pulse, it's a huge advantage to be able to bring and add geotags. And so let me explain geotags a little bit more. You can see there the red box in the top left corner is highlighting imagery. So what that allows me to do is take my mobile device, my iPhone, and be able to take a picture of something and attach that picture in a 3D space. And so when I get back to the office and I import data, that picture is showing up in the correct location on the 3D space. So I'm not sitting there taking just simple regular pictures with my iPhone or my Android device. I can simply take the picture, put it in the correct location, and that way I know where I took that picture from. And this is something I tell everyone. When you think about it, think about being able to take a picture with your iPhone or your Android device, whatever, and you come back to the office, maybe you take 100 pictures. You come back to the office and you simply say, okay, well, there's my 100 pictures. I'm going to throw them on my hard drive in a folder called Pictures under the project. And then let's be honest, you never look at them again, right? Because when you do look at them, you kind of look and go, geez, I don't remember what angle that picture was taken from. I don't remember where that is in the project. Well, with this and having geotags, that allows me to be able to put it in the correct location and really give me a reference point as to where that is in the space. Okay. So let's then move on and talk a little bit about the BLK2GO Pulse versus the BLK2GO. What the heck's the difference? And you're looking right now, of course, at a a lot of technical specifications here. We got the scanner type where the pulse is a combination of SLAM technology and time of flight, where the BLK2GO is simply SLAM technology. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know, on one scanner or the other? It's neither. It's an advantage on both, right? Just having SLAM technology with the BLK2GO gives you some advantages. Having SLAM and time of flight gives you advantages with the pulse, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Okay. Range noise is going to be a little bit higher on our pulse than it is the to-go. The field of view is a little more limited on the pulse than it is the to-go. And so again, when we think about this, you know, if you just do a side-by-side and you look at that, you think, oh, I gotta go with the BLK2GO because that's the better one to have. It's really not, right? Just because you have a bigger hammer doesn't mean that that's gonna pound in all the nails you want. What about those fine finish nails, right? And that's where you might look at the BLK2GO Pulse. I want to collect only the detail I want to see. I'm going to use the pulse for that. BLK2GO, I want to collect everything around 360 degree horizontal, 270 vertical, right? We want to be able to collect all that data. We can collect all that data. Okay. All right. And then the operational difference, right? What's the biggest difference? Actually, let me back that up 1 second here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop on my camera as soon as I can find that button here. All right, and let's see here. Let me see if it'll work here. Yeah, that one's not going to work for me. Okay, that's okay. My other camera is set up, but not choosing to share on GoTo. Awesome. How about this? There we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and show you a little bit around the BLK2GO Pulse, right? If we look at the overall, just the shape, it pretty much looks like the BLK2GO. But the Pulse is a bit different. And I'm going to try and pull the BLK2GO up here. And of course, I don't want to drop anything. I've got the BLK2GO here in my left hand, and then of course the Pulse right next to it. And they look, whoops, let me move back here. They look rather similar, except up near the top there. You'll notice the BLK2GO kind of has this shiny dome to it, where that SLAM technology is being picked up right through that clear, that black dome. Whereas our Pulse is using the time of flight sensors here to collect data, right? And then of course we do have some cameras down there along the sides and the front and the other side here. Now, one interesting difference here is when you look at the BLK2GO Pulse, is these batteries, believe it or not, are different from the BLK2GO. So just a mental note for you, if you plan on being able to take and use both, you're not going to be able to use the same batteries. All right, so I'm going to put that battery back in, make sure it clicks into place. And so you'll notice that my cell phone is not sitting on top there, right? Well, how do we get that to happen? Well, I'm going to go ahead and right here out the top, stick a fingernail in here and I can pull this little plug out. And that little plug reveals kind of a hole in the top of the scanner. Well, what fits in there? Well, this thing does. This is a quad lock. And quad lock, if you've never heard of this, they're cases for phones and iPads and a number of other things, I suppose, that can be purchased right online. You can get this, the one I got, and then again, let me set this down here real quick. The one I got sits on the back of my phone here, like this is my iPhone, and all it does is fits into the back and turns. So I'm gonna get it nice and tight there so it doesn't come out. And so that comes on and sits on the back, and of course, even if I try to pull on it, nothing's gonna happen. And then of course I can take the phone and I can pop it right into place there. And my phone is sitting on top of the scanner. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to push and hold the button, and you're going to see that the scanner is going to start to turn on. And for now, I'm going to stop sharing my webcam. And when the scanner turns on, I'm going to, I'll do that here in a second. But back to the PowerPoint here, right? If I go to the next slide, the biggest difference between these is, the pulse to get specific areas for full coverage, like I said, between the two. And the BLK2GO Pulse, we really don't want to use this in direct sunlight. It simply doesn't collect good data that way. Okay, so it works best indoors, and again, with sunlight, it can be an issue. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring up, I have to finagle my way through here. So bear with me just one moment. All right. So obviously what you're looking at here is, whoops, my Teams, and now on my phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search on my phone for the Field 360 application. All right. Now it's asking me if I want to connect to my BLK2GO, my other scanner. So I'm simply going to say no, and I'm going to go up and create a connection to the Pulse. Whoop. Try this one more time. I may be connected to a different Wi-Fi network, so I might have to go shut that down. We'll see here if it works this time. There we go. All right. So there's my Field 360 app. And of course, now I can come in here and I can create a project and hit save. And now I'm into the Field 360 app, where I can now start walking with this Pulse and collecting data. And as you can see, I'm collecting the data, whoops, in real time. And mine is, I walked around here a little too fast. I'm kind of linked, unfortunately, by my microphone, but you can see that the data I collected there real fast, 3D data here in my office space, right? And that's just very, very quickly me walking around an 8x10 space, but that's the data that I'm collecting. okay? And now the advantage I have here by using this Field 360 app allows me to take some of this data, and if I so choose, go out and be able to share this data in real time, whether I upload it to Reality Cloud Studio, which if you haven't seen that, that is a Leica sharing service, and I can upload directly to Reality Cloud Studio, and my mobile data is going to be used. Do I wish to continue? Of course, I can hit yes, and that's going to start uploading my data to Reality Cloud Studio, where I would use my login. Oh, wrong password. Anyway, I'm not going to upload it right now anyway, but or I could simply come out here and say, I want to export this to an E57 file. That would save it to my mobile device, and then I can send that data to a, let's say, Dropbox, for instance, and that can be imported into Register 360 back at the office. And so let me just talk quickly back to Reality Cloud Studio. If you haven't looked into this and you are currently scanning, I encourage you to look into it. It is a way for us to be able to take that data, put it up on Leica's Reality Cloud Studio service, and be able to, in some cases, automatically register, also to be able to create meshes. And if you've ever seen the Matterport device where they have that dollhouse view, we can get a dollhouse view on Reality Cloud Studio as well. So something to think about. I'll stop sharing my phone here. Anyway. All right. So what I'll do now is anybody with any questions, I'll take your questions.
Okay, I don't see any questions in the questions panel at the moment. So if anyone has anything off the cuff, feel free to add those in now. Maybe we could just give it a few minutes.
Sure.
Okay. All right, so one did just come in, and it's just, what is the approximate cost of the device?
What we would do is just have you get with one of our sales folks, because there's things that are come into play with that, software and things like that. But if you give your salesperson a call, we're happy to give you a price. But you know, you're looking in the between $40,000 and $55,000 range.
And then another question along the same lines says, does RCS have a cost or is it free?
It is not free. It does have a cost. If you happen to currently purchase a scanner with Leica, for instance, the RTC right now has a 2-year subscription included with the scanner. The BLK has a 1-year. So it depends on which scanner you would buy with them. And yeah, so it's not free. Otherwise, it's you pay for the amount of space that you use.
Come through, so that might be it for our questions today. Jay, do you have any additional comments to get this all wrapped up?
No, not really. Just you know, it's a really amazing device, and to be able to collect those spaces very quickly is very beneficial.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jay, for presenting. Super cool stuff. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to be with us. Just a quick reminder that you'll receive a copy of the presentation emailed to you sometime next week. And if you have any other questions, feel free to shout, and enjoy the rest of your day.